And welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be continuing with if Naruto had Asta's demon and the Nine Tails. But before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and just a little something here. Quote of the day: put a little bit more effort into what you do a day and see if that makes a difference. Anyway, let's get right into the video.
You are watching Shinobi LX. Enjoy.
Go watch the last part. So as the snake lunges at Naruto, Naruto looks down at it and without any hesitation, he holds out his hand and he summons the big sword and he just fires it off and it goes clean through the snake, like almost cutting it through the middle. Like going it basically went through like its mouth and went off the back part of its head. So it's like it's down and out. So Orochimaru, although he's panicked, he's trying to keep his cool. And Naruto was like, normally by this time, someone to see when they're outmatched in power and strength would, just throw in this towel and run, not stay and fight. You clearly have some form of advantage here if you're willing to stay and fight. And Orochimaru was like, I know you're fatigued. After all, I know exactly what experiments they've been doing on you. All those experiments that they've been doing were tasked to keep you fatigued and worn out. So when this day came, you wouldn't be able to keep this up for long. And Naruto laughs and was like, "Do you really think for a second that I care? Yeah, sure, I'm fatigued, but I'm not going to sit here and let the village that my father tried so hard to protect go to waste all because I'm fatigued. My dad died protecting this village from the Nine Tails, and I'll die protecting it from you." And with like all the shinobi hearing this from Naruto, like they're shocked and surprised because they used to treat Naruto like he wasn't shit. And for Naruto to just protect them randomly was just so frightening to them. It was scary how Naruto was able to find the strength to fight back and save the people that tormented him for so long. So Jiraiya and Tsunade and Kakashi and Sasuke and Sakura get there because they're like the small little bunch trio that I made. No, not trio squads. I'm sorry. Um, so when they all get there, Sasuke and Kakashi are in. They're frightened because that's the same transformation that Naruto used to fight Pain in, and he was ragdolling Pain, and he almost destroyed more of the Leaf Village than what was necessary. So and they're getting more of an accurate representation, like they're getting more of an accurate reading from it this time. And all like the Byakugan, like anybody that had an Aike Genkai, anybody that can sense ki, not ki, subsurf, chakra really well, they can feel the amount of like power is sitting behind Naruto right now. And Naruto was like, "It's your move, Orochimaru." And Orochimaru laughs and was like, "Come on, Naruto, we both know you can't afford to keep this up for long." And Naruto like leans forward a bit and ends up appearing right beside. He like appears on the left side, like he like appears on the left side of Orochimaru and was like, "You're right." So while I have this short period of time, why don't you make this worth my time? And he summons the big sword and he smacks Orochimaru into the ground. And Orochimaru gets back up out of the dust cloud and rushes Naruto. And they begin their fight. And for the first beginning parts of the fight, it was Naruto who was on top because Naruto has known this power his entire life. Orochimaru has just gotten this power, and it's nothing but, like I said earlier, a cheap imitation of what Naruto truly holds. So, as they're fighting, Orochimaru slightly starts to get the upper hand because keep Naruto is starting to like his fatigue is starting to set in. So, after a certain extent, Naruto starts breathing heavy, kind of like how Nar- when Goku was fighting Android 19, I think, when he started breathing heavy. Yeah, that's basically what's happening here. So Jiraiya was going to go step in, and before he could, Sasuke immediately tells him don't, and they're like, pay attention to Naruto, and the tails go away, and the darkness surrounding his body engulfs Naruto, and the only thing that you can see out of him is like the white, like his white eyes, and like his mouth is kind of white as well. So they're like, "What is this?" And Naruto his other pulls out the sword that can absorb chakra and shoot it back. Basically, the sword from Black Clover, if you haven't watched it. So Naruto was like, "This is much better." And Orochimaru was like, "What? What did you do?" And Naruto was like, "It's simple. I decreased the strength, but increased my speed." And he was like, "What does that mean?" And Naruto grabs, like, okay, so if you're up to, spoiler alert, really quickly, I just had to make this remark. If you've watched Black Clover up to the point that it's at now, you would know that he has another sword that can like cure curses and things like that. So he has that sword and the one that can absorb mana out right now. So he's using those two. So he summons both of those and he grabs them and he was like, "Well, why don't you figure it out?" And he jumps forward and he just starts ragdolling Orochimaru. But Orochimaru notices that his hits aren't as strong as they were, but he's Naruto's too fast for him to counter. So the best thing that he can do now is retreat. But before he can use the snake substitution jutsu, Naruto quickly stops him by cutting off one of his hands using the blade. And Orochimaru gets mad at the fact that Naruto's too fast for him to counter because Naruto is using like he's using like the air pressure. If I'm okay, so Naruto had an air affinity, so he's basically jumping off of the air. So it's like he'll jump and he'll kind of nope, I got it. So he's using the big sword, like he's summoning the big sword underneath his feet, and he's using that to push off, kind of like a bouncy ball that you used to get at like the little slot machine. That's what he's using it like. That's what he's using the big sword for in this specific, what's in it, in this specific form. So Orochimaru is very annoyed at the fact that Naruto is doing this to him. So Orochimaru smirks and was like, it doesn't like he smirks out like to show Naruto, but he's like it doesn't matter because I could just come back using one of them anyway. And Naruto was like, for someone that's about to die, but as he's saying it, Orochimaru was like, he summons the big snake again, like he summons another snake, and Naruto's like, so you still have some fight in you, huh? And Orochimaru was like, if I'm gonna die, the least I can do is kill a monster like you. And he begins to flood the like he begins to like suck up the chakra from the snake, if that makes sense. Like the snake that he summoned was specifically meant for him to be able to absorb the chakra, because he believed the more chakra you absorb with the form that he was in, it gave you more power in the form, which is completely wrong because Naruto doesn't gain as much power as you would think from gaining chakra unless he kills someone while doing it. In that case, I'll explain more in detail later on, but for right now, yeah. So everybody notices that the snake is slowly dying because Orochimaru is absorbing the chakra from it. So Orochimaru, believing that he had got a decent boost from the snake chakra, he begins to start berating Naruto, telling him that he should have never have let him do that. And Naruto like is just looking at him, and Orochimaru looks down at him. And keep in mind, Naruto, like his whole face is covered in that darkness, so all you can see is like these big round pupils. I just want y'all to get the image of this because this shit's gonna be so fucking funny if you can get the image. So it's like these big round circles that are white on his face, and then like this weird like type blank face like expression, like the emoji. If you know emoji I'm talking about, put it in the comments. But it's like that emoji. And Naruto, like he smiles like a real like grimace smile, and he blinks once and like he smiles, and he appears in front, like he blitzes Orochimaru, and he was like, "Did you like right before he stabs Orochimaru, he whispers in Orochimaru's ear, and was like, did you really think absorbing some snake's chakra was going to stop me from impaling you with my swords?" Then he stabs Orochimaru, and it was like, "You're finished, you cheap imitation." And he pulls out, and Orochimaru just pause. I didn't mean it to come out like that. So he pulls his swords out, and Orochimaru just falls to the ground, dead. And Naruto hits the ground. But when he hits the ground, knowing that he was still fatigued, he like passes out completely. And Hinata grabs him, and like Hinata grabs Naruto and asks Tsunade could she somehow find a way to heal him. And before Tsunade could even help, Naruto stood back up. Like he pushed off of Hinata, and when he turned around, his eyes weren't slits. They were just like his normal eyes, but a red like they were like a more darker red. And Lide begins to tell them that Naruto would be fine, but for right now, and like he smiles and he's like, "You want to have some fun?" And Jiraiya was like, "Wait a sec, what do you, Naruto?" And Lide like scratches his head, like scratches Naruto's head, and was like, "Not quite." And Lide begins to like go into depth of what happened to him. And Naruto was out for like a whole week because Naruto has been getting like no rest for an entire month, and when he woke up he was very hungry. The only difference was that Naruto wasn't in a hospital when he woke up like he expected. He was in a room that looked like he was talking to Jiraiya and Tsunade about something. And when he woke up, Lide, like, he just kind of slumped over in the chair and then just got back up. Was like, what the fuck just happened? So, like, Jiraiya was like, oh, so Lide is gone, huh? And Tsunade was like, I gotta admit, Naruto, for you to have such power and so many personalities in you, I'm surprised you're not insane. And Hinata was like, yeah, it is pretty difficult to keep track of to try to keep track of you now. After all, you're back in the village like we wanted, But there's so much baggage with you now, Naruto. And Naruto felt like he's been left out of something, and he's like, what, like what's going on? And Kurama was like, Lee was out there being a little snitch. And Naruto was like, you know what? That is the last fucking time I go AFK. I mean, I go AF, I go AFN. I mean AFL away from life and let you take control, Lee. And he was like, I would rather have the Nine Tails go berserk and almost destroy half the village rather than to have you at the wheel ever again in life. And Naruto was like, listen, whatever you heard from Lide, disregard all of it. No. Don't try to help me in any way, shape, or form. I need a training partner, and if you can spare, because I know y'all probably, he's somewhere in this village, where is Zabuza? And they were like, wait, what? And Naruto was like, it's not right for y'all to keep Zabuza away from me. Because if it wasn't for me, Zabuza would still be out there killing anyone and everyone that he pleased. So it would be better for him to stay under my supervision because I can quickly dispatch of him if need be. And Jiraiya was like, he does have a point. And Tsunade was like, but we have a more bigger matter to attend to. And Naruto was like, yeah, we do. Where's Danzo? And on cue, Danzo walks in the room and was like, oh, so the new hero of the Leaf Village finally is awake. And Naruto was like, I didn't ask to be a hero the same way I didn't ask to be a guinea pig. And Naruto, well, um, Danzo was like, well, you also didn't need to kill people. And Naruto was like, I healed Sakura the last time I saw her when I first reappeared, and I literally saved the village from pain. Although I did turn myself in for my crimes, that had to admit for something. Cause I didn't have to bring your people back. I could have just let them die, took his Renegon, and left. But I didn't. Speaking of that, I have to go find somebody. And Naruto like gets up and he just starts walking out. And Haku was like, "Wait, oh, there's Naruto. Wait, where's he going?" And he sees like Zabuza, like Zabuza turns around and was like, "Oh, well, we can wait for him here. After all, I can't necessarily leave the village when I have like 16 Ambu members looking after me." And um, Haku looks up at him and was like, what did they say about mentioning that there were Ambu looking after you? And Haku was like, you kind of yeah, we should probably just wait for Naruto. And Jiraiya was like, where could Naruto be off to be going off to this time? And Kakashi was like, I can go looking for him. And they, him and Guy, Kakashi and Guy went to go look for Naruto. But Naruto activated that one mode that he was in, that nerfed mode. So he was moving faster throughout the trees because he was headed toward the Rain Village to find Conan to see about the Renegon. So when he gets there, Conan is in the middle of the fight with Obito. So, well, Obito, because I know a lot of people get triggered if you don't say his name right. So, as like right before she gets like right before Obito kills her, Naruto powers up to the like full powered form, and he fires the big blade at Obito, which forces him to Kamui away, but it did still nick him, so he did lose, like he is losing blood. So he Kamui's away, and Conan was like, I thought you were never gonna come back. Like, I thought you were just gonna stay in the Leaf Village. And Naruto was like, yeah, change your plans. And he goes out of that form. And he's like, ugh, that form still takes a lot out of me. We want you to come back to the Leaf Village. I want you to come back to the Leaf Village with me. And Conan was like, I can't. My home is here. This is where everything happened. This is where we were all once before. And Naruto grabs his shoulder. Naruto grabs his shoulder and was like, I understand that, but he also wanted me to try to keep you safe. Although you can defend yourself, I think he would I think he would benefit greatly if you stayed in the village with your master and a friend, referring as into himself. And Conan reluctantly agrees, and Naruto's like, on one condition, I had to hold that form for a bit, and I'm a little tired, so could you walk for a little while? And the only reason why Naruto is so fatigued right now is because he had to use that form all the way from the Leaf Village to the Rain Village, and that's a long ass journey if I'm not mistaken. So they get like right on the border of like the Leaf Village, and Kakashi and Guy finally find Conan and Naruto, and Kakashi was like, "So this is what you went to go do?" And Guy was like, "Isn't she a fugitive?" And Naruto looks at them and was like, "Yeah, she is. But let's be honest, aren't you gonna stop me from bringing her into the Leaf Village?" And Guy looks at Kakashi, and Kakashi shrugs his shoulders and was like, "I don't care." And Guy was like, "Well, you can't handle yourself, Naruto, so I'll leave it up to you." And Naruto was like, "Okay then." So they start walking. Like Naruto was like, Conan, just follow behind me, I guess. But I'm gonna get a lot of attention, so probably would be best if you didn't stick out too much. So you should probably like make a hood or something. So she took off the Akatsuki cloak and put on. Well, Naruto walked into the village. Well, no, I'm gonna say Kakashi went inside the village and got like another cloak, but this time with a hood. So Kakai, so Conan took off the Akatsuki um coat, and she put on like this all black one, but it still had a cloud on it. It was just like a white cloud. It didn't have clouds all over it. It had one cloud on the back, and it was all white. And like it was white and black. Like the outlines to indicate it was a cloud was black, but the inside of it, like the red, was white. So yeah, she like they walk into the village, and Conan is like behind Naruto as Naruto's being praised for saving the village. People are giving him things. By the time Naruto actually got back to the Hokage's office to discuss where he was going to stay, he had like three different baskets. Conan was holding some. He got a sword from a swordsmith. He got a couple of kunai. He got some ramen, like a ramen pass thing. He got like a whole bunch of hugs and stuff from like people that never liked him before until they saved his ass. Some of the shinobi like wrote Naruto's like quote on a banner and hung it in the town. And they like it. Some people declared it National Naruto's Day. So like it was like overzealous like type shit. Like it wasn't needed. So Naruto was like, so where am I supposed to be staying? And Zabuza was like, I like how you didn't even mention my name, but you brought back someone else. And Naruto was like, I was getting to you. You ain't have to do that, nigga. I was getting to you. I was getting to you. And Zabuza was like, sure you were. Anyway, while you were out cold and whatever that thing was took control of your body, I was actually getting us a house. And Haku's like, and more like getting it as in he was put on house arrest in your house that, Jiraiya specifically acquired for you. You know, yeah, yeah. And Naruto was like, wait, where's Hinata? And everybody like kind of like glared off, and Naruto was like, why did y'all do that? And Jiraiya kind of like fills him in on how she like finally stopped playing victim and she's training a lot, like a lot. Like she's damn near surpassed almost like half of the entire village in strength, damn near. Like she's up there with Kakashi and Guy and like yeah, like she's main character type strong type shit. Like if Sasuke wasn't in the village, like if Hinata got replaced with Sasuke, that's how strong she is right now. Like she's around that level. Like she can go toe to toe with Sasuke if need be the case. Well, if that needs to happen, you know. She's not gonna hold her own like fully fucking like be able to beat his ass, but she'll be able to hold some form of her own. So Naruto was like, so where can I find her now? And Tsunade was like, so normally at this time she would be, if I'm correct, lying out in exhaustion, probably right in front of the Hyuga compound because, you know, that's just something that she does now. And Naruto was like, okay, I guess we're going to go see, you know, they're gonna go find Hinata. And Naruto walks out, and Tsunade was like, so are we not going to sit here and pay attention to, like, the fact that this man just had a person behind him that wasn't talking, did not advocate for themselves, and follows him around like his shadow? And Jiraiya was like, no, I have a pretty good idea on who it is. No, she's the only person that I think has that Kekkei, as far as I'm aware of. And Tsunade was like, what? How do you know that how do you know it's a girl? And how do you, what? And Jiraiya was like, nothing. Nothing to worry about. But I approve. So we're gonna flash over to Naruto's perspective. And as Hinata's like just laid out across the floor and breathing heavily, Naruto looks at her and was like, wow. Like, he's like, wow, you're training pretty hard. And she kind of like jumps up a bit because the last time she spoke to Naruto, Naruto left the village like a day and a half ago. Well, like like a decent while ago. So she wasn't expecting Naruto to be back, and she wasn't expecting Naruto to see her in this condition. So Naruto like sits down and they were talking about how that's all she does now is train. And Naruto like was like, man, you have to lighten up a bit. I mean, I know I'm strong, but my strength sometimes kind of feel like it was handed to me. Like I don't deserve it. But with all this power, I need to train to get stronger to be able to contain it so that way I don't pass out or faint, kind of like how I did earlier. And she was like, yeah, but even then, your power still exceeds mine. And Naruto stands up and was like, yeah, but if I did this and he powers, like, he goes into that nine tail state, like, with Lee Day thing. And Naruto tells Hinata to use her Byakugan, and she sees, like, the muscles in Naruto. Like, she sees, like, the Naruto's chakra system is filling up with like this weird ominous energy and it's straining Naruto's body. And Naruto deep like powers down and he's like, the longer I hold that, the more strain it puts on my body because I don't have the muscle or the endurance or the stamina to hold that form, but I can hold this one. And like his eye, like the energy starts going up his eye and like one arm turns black and like a wing pops out. He's like, I can hold this one, and like his whole body gets encased, and like it's kind of like the white, yes, basically what I described earlier. And Hinata was like, so what's wrong with that form, that the one that you're in now? And he was like, it's faster, it's way faster than any of the forms that I have, but the problem is that it's too weak. It's like in order for me to use this form all the time, I would have to train my strength up to get my hits to hit harder. But if I use that form, if I use my maxed out power at the limit that I'm at now, I'll be stronger but not faster because of I need the muscles to be able to move. I need the strength to be able to move my body, and in that form, it's too hard for me to do that right now. And Hinata was like, "Oh, so are you looking for a training partner?" And Naruto like kind of like scratches his head and was like, "No, kind of already got that covered." And as they're talking, Neji walks up to him and was like, "Well, if it isn't Mr. Victim and Mrs. Victim." And Naruto looks over and was like, "Oh, it's you." And Hinata was like, "What do you want this time, Neji?" And Neji was like, "Whoa, temper, temper. I just came over here to see if you were done with this whole charade about ever becoming stronger than me." And Naruto looks at him and then looks at Hinata and laughs. And Neji's like, "I don't see what's so funny, Naruto. Or should I, count you still as a demon? Those titles, hero, savior of the village, may mean something to them, but you're still gonna be a demon to me." Naruto stops and was like, "The fact that you think I need your validation is irrelevant. You also have to remember, Neji, I'm stronger than you. Sure, I may have not have trained a lot, but my power comes from me training. Your power was given to you, handed to you on a silver platter. My power has consequences and repercussions behind it. Hinata has been training for over a month now, and you still think she can't beat you? She's put on more effort than you will ever put in, and you still think she can't beat you? If that's the case, then I'll put a wager on it. If tomorrow you two fight, if you beat her, I'll leave you alone. I'll leave the village. And hey, you can have full reign over Hinata. But if Hinata somehow wins, you have to admit that you are wrong. And you must never in your life ever talk down to someone again. You pathetic waste of space. And Neji grits his teeth and was like, fine. And Hinata was like, wait, what? I'm confused. No, that's not, you can't just, and Naruto was like, nope, it's too late. I've already sent out flyers. And Hinata was like, wait, what, flyers? And Konai kind of just like dispersed in the papers. And then, like, a couple of, like, 30 minutes later, she reforms and was like, everyone I think has been notified. And Hinata was still kind of freaking out about the flyer thing. And then she notices the figure just reappear as fucking papers, and she's like, "What is that? Like, what did you just? What? No, no. What is that?" And Naruto was like, "Oh, it's an old friend." And she Konan taps Naruto on the shoulder, and Naruto turns around and she pulls out the jar and she's like, "We still have to figure out what you want to do with these." And this is where I'm ending this part off. If y'all like the video, drop a like. If y'all enjoy my content, please subscribe. Anyway, this has been Shinobi, and as always, peace.